Oh, hi there. Hope you're well. You know, when we dive into media, whether a book or TV or movies or even games, I feel like we're conditioned to spot the hero pretty early on. The camera lingers, the score swells, their flaws feel more like personal character growth. We accept them as the narrative center, the ones whose choices reshape the world. But sometimes the story deceives us and its characters. The apparent protagonist, convinced of their destiny, is revealed as a mere cog in a larger machine. This is the false hero archetype. Oh, and I know that not every protagonist in the story is, quote-unquote hero, but calling it a false hero archetype sounds better for the video. Far from a cheap twist, it's a powerful tool that subverts the hero's journey, challenging notions of fate and heroism. In a world of chosen ones and legacies, it reminds us that the universe doesn't orbit around just one person, mirroring real life's unpredictability, where our struggles may lack cosmic purpose. All types of media excel at this through perspective tricks, close-ups, and voiceovers to build investment, making the shift destabilizing yet profound when earned. But, done poorly without foreshadowing or payoff, it alienates the audience. And today I wanted to talk about it. It seems niche enough, so hopefully it'll be interesting. In Adventure Time, heroism is practically baked into the DNA of the show.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but the last time we hung out, you and I, you actually sucked on my nose, so...
What? I don't remember doing that.
Sucked
on your nose.
Yep, yeah, you absolutely did. It was the day with all the, it was pretty recently. It wasn't that long ago, but yeah, you went for my nose, you got excited, you sucked on it, and you got it.
Well...
And I wasn't... I just want you to know I wasn't cool with that at all.
Sure, I honestly don't remember doing that.
It was recent.
Well, yeah, if I did, I'm sorry. I just don't remember doing that, but it sounded like it really bothered you.
It did bother me, but hey, dude, look, that's why I'm bringing it up now, just so we can hash it out, it's so we can hang out more, you know what I mean?
Sure, I just don't remember.
Yeah, well, it happened.
Finn the human is cheerful, courageous, and endlessly committed to doing what's right. He's the textbook cartoon hero. So, when the series introduces Fern, a grass-made clone born from Finn's own cursed sword, the setup immediately makes us compare the two. Fern awakens with Finn's memories, his experiences, his sense of moral duty, copied directly from the Finn sword. From Fern's perspective, he is Finn, or more accurately, he's a better version of Finn.
Jake! Boy, am I glad to see you. This bozo keeps saying he's me. Why don't you set him straight and tell him who the real Finn is?
That one?
What?
Stronger, sharper, more decisive, his extendable grass limbs and regenerative body make him seem like an upgrade, but something's wrong. Fern's body and mind are unstable.
But that's not fair! Why is nothing ever fair? Hey, Fern, it's just a game. Don't be so weird. Don't call me that.
And his emotions are volatile, and beneath his heroic demeanor lies a quiet, dark resentment where shadowy tendrils from the grass demon begin to whisper doubts into his mind.
Why did you make me?
I just thought it would be cool.
Amplifying his identity crisis, Fern's belief in his own narrative becomes corrosive. He isn't satisfied with being a hero, he needs to become the hero. Later on in the story, he ultimately merges with the grass demon, becoming a monstrous extension of his envy, trapping Finn and attempting to steal his life away. The shift is gradual, and that's why it works. By the time Fern turns fully antagonistic, fighting Finn, the transformation feels inevitable rather than shocking. The story doesn't reject Fern, it mourns him. His final disillusion into the earth is a poignant fade-out. Fern's arc focuses on identity and envy, on what happens when self-worth is entirely dependent on narrative importance. Fans often interpret Fern as Finn's old self, the impulsive fighter from early seasons, cursed and left behind as Finn matures, making it a meta-commentary in a way on character evolution in long-running shows. This is a great execution of the false hero. The themes are consistent with Adventure Time's blend of whimsy and existential dread, and the emotional payoff reinforces the show's larger worldview. Heroism isn't innate, and obsession with being the chosen one is destructive.
I I just wish I could see the treehouse one more time.
Yeah, dude, of course. Let's go there right now.
That's okay. Just promise to plant me there.
Now, contrast that with a very different tone in Blade Runner 2049. Officer K is a replicant whose entire existence is defined by obedience and disposability. He retires his kind with cold efficiency. Passing brutal baseline tests that probe his psyche for deviance. But when he uncovers evidence of a replicant-born child, an impossibility in this world, the story begins to frame him differently. His memory of hiding a wooden horse as a child feels significant. His suffering feels purposeful. For the first time, Kay allows himself to believe that he might matter, not just functionally, but historically, as a miracle child. The film encourages us to believe it too, defies authority by going rogue, and moves through the world that seems to tell him that he is special. Joy, his holographic companion, evolves from a programmed affection to a digital soulmate, urging him onward.
I always told you, you're special. Born, not made.
But the reveal that his memories are implants, fabricated by Dr. Anna Stelline as a decoy to protect the real child, Kay was never the hero of a revolution. He was a footnote, a tool in the... And yet, in his final act, he chooses to sacrifice himself, without recognition, dying in the snow like the memories he cherished, which becomes one of the purest expressions of heroism in the film. The false hero structure amplifies this irony. By stripping Kay of destiny, the story grants him agency. With his worth no longer manufactured, it's chosen. Now, compare that to the execution found in Game of Thrones, particularly in Jon Snow. For much of the series, Jon is positioned as the typical fantasy hero, a noble bastard raised in Winterfell's shadow, a man of principle who swears black to the Night's Watch, and a resurrected warrior. Every narrative signal points towards Jon's destiny, the prince that was promised from ancient texts, secret royal blood as Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark's son. Even the prophecies seem to bend around him. He unites the North and brokers peace with the wildlings. But when the story reaches its climax, Jon's importance dissolves. Arya kills the Night King.
No, don't pull! No!
Daenerys becomes the Mad Queen and torches King's Landing. Jon's role is reduced to reaction rather than action, mercy killing Dany, then exiled beyond the wall.
For a moment neither moves, as if moving will make this real. We see Jon with his hand still on the hilt of the dagger he just lodged in Dany's heart. Her strength leaves her and she collapses to the marble. He keeps her in his arms and she falls.
On paper, this is a classic false hero move, subverting tropes that George R.R. Martin was well known for and what initially made the show so popular, but they fumbled it. Earlier seasons laid the groundwork beautifully. The series repeatedly questioned prophecy, distributed heroism across multiple characters, and emphasized political consequence over mythic triumph. Jon's own doubts, voiced in lines like,
I don't want it. I never have.
or
You are my queen.
But the final season was rushed. 6 episodes cramming 8 years worth of progression into a rushed finale. Jon's importance got quickly thrown out the window. His Targaryen reveal becomes theory baiting, hyped for shock without payoff, and Daenerys' descent lacks sufficient build-up, beyond a few visions. What could have been a powerful rejection of a hero's journey instead feels like narrative whiplash, alienating those who invested 8 seasons in Jon's arc, ultimately just feeling like a massive waste of time. On the other side, you have stories like No Country for Old Men. Llewelyn Moss believes he's the protagonist of his own story. While hunting in the 1980s West Texas desert, he stumbles on a botched drug deal, resulting in corpses everywhere, a pickup truck full of heroin, and a briefcase holding $2 million in cash. With this life-changing money, he plans. He adapts, fleeing across state lines, staying in motels, refilling on ammunition, evading his pursuer. Everything about his behavior suggests that he isn't stupid, but he assumes that cleverness and grit honed from his time in Vietnam will carry him through.
I won't tell you can save yourself, because you can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you something, all right? I decided to make you a special project of mine. You ain't gonna have to come look for me at all.
And ultimately he dies, off-screen, without ceremony. We hear it only in the aftermath. The film doesn't mourn him, it just moves on. The narrative then shifts to Sheriff Bell, whose quiet reflections reframe the story as a meditation on moral entropy rather than survival. Moss was never the point. He was an illusion of control in a world governed by chance and violence.
Well done. Don't put it in your pocket, sir. Don't put it in your pocket. It's your lucky quarter. Where you want me to put it? Anywhere not in your pocket. Or it'll get mixed in with the others and become just a coin. Which it is.
The Coen brothers deny us catharsis deliberately. Showing Moss's death would grant him a more heroic ending that he didn't really deserve, cheapening McCarthy's fatalism. This is a false hero at its most brutal, and its most honest. The shock isn't Moss's death really, it's the realization that the story was never about beating the villain. It was about confronting a universe where the rules we accept no longer apply. Finally, in The Last of Us Part 2, the archetype is weaponized. Now look, this game has been dissected to the point where there isn't really anything new for me to say, but I don't think there's a more divisive and controversial example. Joel's death is abrupt, violent, and traumatic. We all know he was going to die at some point, but for him to be killed within the first 2 hours, on top of that, the game refuses to grant him a heroic send-off most players might have been expecting. Instead, it forces the audience into Ellie's perspective, which makes sense for a sequel. Her raw grief fuels a cross-country revenge mission from Jackson all the way to Seattle, slaughtering dozens, then dismantles it by shifting control to Abby. For more than half the game, you play as Abby, built like a tank from years of training and war, even with her brutal and arguably justified killing of Joel. After killing her father, and the last person arguably on planet Earth who could make a cure, she's not really the villain. Each character believes themselves justified. Each sees themselves as the hero of their own story. Ellie chasing catharsis, Abby defending her people. By the end, the concept of singular protagonist collapses entirely. What remains is perspective. Fragmented, painful, and unresolved. In the end, Ellie spares Abby on the beach. And even after losing her fingers, the last connection she had to Joel really, all the trauma and death, Abby, who's really been the main character of this game, sails away to begin a new life. The false hero structure isn't just a narrative choice here, it's a mechanical one, embedded in the gameplay itself. Even going back to the Seattle theater showdown, from Abby's side shows you as the invading monster, where a lot of people were expecting to be playing as Ellie. Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann intended this to trick players into empathy. This narrative choice sparked immense backlash and controversy, among other things. But ultimately, the length of Abby's section and the combat that was so fun that it contradicted the game's main message, among the other outside factors.
There's just all this negativity and no positivity because no one has played the game. They just have these videos out of context. They just posted Joel's death. And my heart sinks. I can't even describe this feeling.
In the end, it was ultimately just too hard for me to feel much more than, wow, revenge bad. Anyways, that's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed any of this, go subscribe so I can make more stuff. And you can go watch my other videos if you want, and I'll see you next time.